On today's episode of the podcast, I'm sharing my WIPs. So if that sounds like just your cozy cup of something, get comfortable and let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to the Wool Needles Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Tayler, and I will be your host. I have a cup of coffee with me today. It looks like we're into like an early monsoon season here in southern Nevada. It's crazy, it's cloudy, it's kind of stormy looking. I'm obsessed with it. I'm channeling something with my hair, and I can't quite put my finger on it. I used curl defining cream today, which I don't usually use, and now I don't really know what's happening. Okay, what are we here for? We're here to talk about Tayler's WIPs because I have WIPs that I want to share with you guys. Now, if you've been watching the knitting podcast for at least the last 2 months, you know that I've been in a little bit of a knitting slump and that I had a theory about how to pull myself out of that. And turns out that theory is correct. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But yeah, I've been in a little bit of a knitting slump because that's just what happens sometimes. So I decided what I wanted to do is pull out my WIPs. I'm not doing like a frog it or finish it. I'm not doing that because these are WIPs I like. I want these. But these are my more recent works in progress prior to me kind of taking a little bit of a knitting slump for myself, if you will. I'm trying to kind of just pull it together, okay? And I think that it's okay not to fight a knitting slump, just go with it, whatever. But when you're the host of a knitting channel, that can kind of be a little bit stressful. That's kind of why I'm really putting in that effort here today. And I just like chatting about these things with you guys because I know you guys know what it's like. I mean, a lot of you guys do. I hear it in the comments or I read it in the comments and I appreciate the moral support, if you will. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I got my WIPs. I'm ready to go. The first one I want to share with you guys are a pair of socks that I started a few weeks back. Some stripy socks that I'm knitting for Socks for September, a little knit along going on over on Patreon. We're kind of just knitting socks for September so that we have a little collection of one or more pairs of socks to get us into the fall. So these are my socks for September. I know, guys, it's really slow going. You know what? I'm drinking my coffee out of this mug. Do you see this mug? This is not the mug I need today. Hold on, I'll be right back. I need a better, more appropriate mug. Okay, we're back with an appropriate mug. Mug recovery. This mug represents me right now. I am a sloth knitter. I am knitting very slowly. If you like that mug, you can find it over in the Wool Needles Hands merch shop, link down below. But yeah, that's kind of what the deal is. I'm just, not only is my mojo kind of taken a turn for the dumps, but I'm just knitting very slowly. So here's one of my socks for September. I do really love it. Thank goodness for House of the Dragon because now I have like perfect prime time knitting and viewing to get me through a pair of socks like this because I don't need to be paying much attention. That's really good news. Actually, we just watched the first episode of this most recent season of House of the Dragon.
Not the dragons. The rats.
I mean, I feel like if you haven't started watching it and you are a mother or a parent of a new baby, not even just a mother, a parent of a new child, just gird your loins. Okay. Those are my socks for September. Loving these. Oh yes, they are being knit with Peyton's Croy. This is in the, oh my goodness, it's called something orchid. I don't know. I will link to it down below, but it's like blossoming orchid, spring orchid, something orchid. It's like the only colorway in the self-striping that has the word orchid in it, and I love it. It makes such pretty socks. Hello. Love that. This heel, by the way, just while we're here, this is a basic German short row heel. I used the Nimble Needles tutorial. I'll link to that down below. It was a really easy tutorial. Any German short row heel tutorial is going to give you the same heel. While I was doing the Nimble Needles, I had to clarify something on another one. It was like the exact same heel. It's just, yeah, it's the same. Okay, so that is my work in progress. Number 1, loving those. I am currently working on those. It's just slow, okay? Because like I said, like my coffee mug has said, I'm a sloth knitter. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Active WIP at this point, and this is my Panasa. This is a gorgeous colorwork circular yoke sweater, and this is where I'm at with it so far. Okay, so I was having some issues with this. Isn't this lovely? Aren't these colors lovely? This is Fiber for the People yarn in the Born, Shorn, and Dyed collection. It is a collection of yarn. The yarn base is 100% Nevada, born and raised, Merino Rambouillet. I sourced this from a family farm up in northern Nevada. I know the Duffarinas. They're amazing people. This is absolutely amazing yarn. This is yarn that will be coming through the Fiber for the People shop until my current inventory is gone. So I would say the next 2 or 3 shop updates will be this yarn. So sign up for the Fiber for the People newsletter if you're interested. But this is my colorway Chichadas. It is from the most recent shop update collection, inspired by the cover of the book Vampires of El Norte. And then this, which is the main color here, is actually undyed Merino Rambouillet from the Duffarina sheep in a natural gray color. This is undyed, so this is what the fleece looks like naturally. It's beautiful, and I'm knitting straight off the cone. I think these colors are gorgeous together. I'm thinking about pulling in an undyed ecru color in here just to add a third color, but I'm not 100% sure. I really am loving what's happening here. But let me just tell you, I had some issues. I was knitting from the chart, and I brought this up and over on Patreon in a little video because I was absolutely confused, and I needed help. And so I thought I would throw a little video together and ask the folks over on Patreon to see if they could give me any insight. But I was having a really hard time with the chart, and I have knit from colorwork charts before. They're not new to me, but there was something about this one that was really bugging me. On the actual chart, parts of the motif were lining up a certain way, but as I would knit the item here, those same parts of the motif were not lining up exactly like they were in the chart, and it was throwing me for the biggest loop. And turns out I was just really greatly overthinking it, and that I just really needed to trust the chart and know that it would work out. And it is working out. And I think what I'm realizing is that when you have a colorwork motif, like the one that you see here, elements in each kind of ring of the motif aren't always going to line up perfectly, symmetrically, if you will. Like, for example, I think my biggest issue with this was that these they almost look like little fleur-de-lis motifs right here. These were not lining up perfectly with these little gray ones here. I was expecting them to do that. If you were to look at the colorwork chart, you would have that same expectation. But it wouldn't work out that way because you're also increasing stitches, which is going to cause this motif to kind of scooch over just ever so slightly, and it's not going to line up perfectly with this one below. And I zoomed in to the images on the pattern like so many times to try to see if that was what was happening. And it turns out, sure enough, this portion of the colorwork motif, this part here, doesn't line up perfectly with this, symmetrically speaking. It just doesn't, because you're increasing the number of stitches. Things are going to kind of move around a little bit. And I guess my expectation was that they would, and it just threw me off. I have tinked back, I think two and a half times to go all the way back to these little fleur-de-lis parts down here, because I swear I was doing something wrong, only to realize, I was just really overthinking the motif and how much those things are supposed to line up, especially given that you're increasing stitches and the overall colorwork motif is going to have to adjust to the greater number of stitches. I don't know. Anyway, I'm on the right track now. I'm moving along. It's obviously slow because I've had to go back and redo it. But it was definitely a moment of like, it was a learning curve I needed to experience because it's been a while since I've knit anything color work. And it was just kind of that discombobulation that happens when you're trying to get over like a cognitive hump. Like you're just like, I can't understand what's happening. And then you finally get over that and then you're in it, right? Like you understand what's going on. I think that was kind of what I needed to do here. But ultimately, I really love this. I think it's going to be a beautiful sweater. I love that I chose to narrow up the crew neck. I'm gonna pop this on really quick because I feel like the picture of the sweater, and I mentioned this on the last time I shared this. I don't really know. Where's the front and the back? Are we here? The picture of the sweater, it shows a really wide neck, and I don't love that with hand knit sweaters because it just kind of can have, not sloppy, because I do not feel like that sweater looks sloppy. It just doesn't, it's not as structured as I would like it for my preference. I wanted something a little bit more crew neck, more like structured in that way. And so I kind of like the way that this looks with a crew neck. I'm wondering, because I chose to take a crew neck like this, I'm wondering if I'm going to need to add additional increases to this to widen it out where I need it to go, but I don't know. Oh, and I really love the colors. Super pretty. So this is my Panasa. And I love it. Wow, hello. We're going to be trying on something else later, so this hair could just really be taking a turn for the worse. Loving this, a lot of fun. My theory was that what I should do to break my knitting slump is to try to knit something that feels really out of my comfort zone. To see if those things that are really out of my comfort zone appeal to me right now. Turns out, when I was looking at Ravelry and browsing through patterns, color work really appealed to me, and I would not have thought that, considering like being a little bit low in terms of knitting mojo. Watch that video if you feel like you're in your own little knitting slump. Maybe it'll provide some insight. But that is my second work in progress. Now let's go ahead and move to some of these ones that kind of got pushed to the back burner recently with my knitting slump. Okay, my first one is, it's a little improvised hood with a cowl. That was what I was trying to do with this. Is I wanted, and I started this back in April, late April, early May. I wanted to create a hood with a cowl so that you could wear it like a cowl, but then you could also pull it up over your head like a hood, you know, when it's a little bit chillier outside. Well, I saw this sitting over in my WIP basket. Sorry, I have a little bit of a tangle here. I saw this sitting over in my WIP basket, and it just looks so soft and squishy, and it's stockinette stitch, which is really nice right now for knitting and reading, which I'm doing a lot of and absolutely loving. If you know, if you've been watching the Good Books Lately channel, I love you for that. And you know that we've been doing lots of reading, but it's good to have something like this for that purpose. Okay, so that's what this is. This is just the beginnings of a cowl that will have a hood attached to it. My only issue with this is I'm not really sure how I'm going to make the hood. And I've purchased a few hood patterns, which begs the question, well, why aren't you just knitting from a pattern? Well, I don't know why. I can't really remember what my reason was for not just knitting from a pattern. I think it was because I just wanted to improvise a hood. What is this? I'm having one of those situations where one of your balls of yarn has to be like sent through the cable of your needles because only one of your balls of yarn is just not falling in line. Hold on. Sometimes when things get tangled, it turns me into an absolute madwoman. What is it about that? What is it about? It was both balls of yarn need to go through. Everything is just absolutely bedlam. Little known fact, don't know if you know this, the term bedlam actually refers to an asylum, which it was considered an insane asylum way back when, that was called, I want to say, St. Mary of Bethlehem in London. And it just over time, people in a way to be like more expeditious would kind of say it quickly and it became Bedlam. Okay. But this asylum was known for just being absolute chaos. Like you would walk the streets alongside this asylum and you would hear the screaming and the torturous sounds of these people just in such mental distress. And so eventually the term Bedlam, which is how people would refer to this place, became connected with like chaos or just everything, like just madness, if you will, forgive the phrase. Okay, moving on. I'm no longer tangled, but you know, who's to say that's not going to change sometime soon. Okay, so here is my hood. Well, not my hood, but this is what I'm thinking I want to do with this, if you will. I'm going to pop this guy on. I'm going to pop it on this way. Okay, oh geez Louise, okay. So what I think I'm going to do, and I might be way off, pardon me as I look over here because that's kind of like my mirror. I think what I want to do is I want to cast off stitches right here. Okay, and then this will be finished. The cowl, I'm going to give it maybe about like 1.5 inches more depth. But then once I do that, I'm going to cast off these stitches right here. Okay, and then I'm going to carry on like this, back and forth like this, up, 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 all the way around the back of my head. Some of you more experienced knitters might be thinking to yourself like, what? But all the way around the back of my head. And then once I get up to here, And if you can imagine, it would just be like this half tube of fabric, if you will. I'm going to connect these pieces together, which will give it kind of a little bit of a point at the back, which I'm going to have to cross that bridge when I get to it if I want like that point, which I don't know. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then that would form the hood. I don't know. I'm trying to visualize how I'm going to do that. The more I think about the frustration of having to figure out how to create a hood with this, the more I think that I'm just going to resign myself to creating just a cowl, and I'm going to forego the hood altogether. Or I just really need to check out some of the patterns that I purchased and just figure out how is it that they did their hood. Because, I don't know, that's probably what I just need to do. I'm not in the mood to improvise. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. You know, you kind of get to this place where you just don't want to reinvent the wheel. Just like follow a pattern. Somebody has done it for you, just follow it. So maybe what I should be doing is just trying to find a pattern that fits with what I have here and then just following the pattern for the rest of this project. Maybe that will motivate me to finish this. This is Fiber for the People yarn in merino alpaca silk in a really gorgeous ash color. This is not one I've dyed recently, but I dyed this quite some time ago. It's just a really lovely grayish, like very light grayish mauve color. It's absolutely beautiful. I have it in this and I have it in kid mohair silk. Two of those together make for such a lovely fabric. How pretty is this? You know, there is a lot of, I don't know if it's like a pressure, but some of us feel like we just need to become knitwear designers. We have an idea for something that we want to make and we don't think anybody else can satisfy that desire, so we're going to just design it ourselves. And I think that's a great way to look at things, is to take the reins and just do it yourself. But sometimes if it's just not what you want, if you really would just rather let somebody else provide you the instructions, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with just wanting to simply follow a pattern, especially for something that you've never knit before that has like an unusual construction to you. Okay, I'm done. I'm off the soapbox. This is my last WIP that I have right now, and you guys have seen this. This is relatively recent. This is my little tee. I can't remember the name of this. I want to say I can't remember. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen. I'm sorry. I hosted a lemonade stand today and yesterday with my boys, and I just feel like from all of the hubbub of doing like a lemonade stand, putting out the signs and everything, it's taken a toll. Okay, here we are. This, I want to say plain, this is the Plain Tee 2.0. I'll pop it up for you to see. I love this. Okay, I started working on this, I don't know, like 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago now. And I just kind of stopped, and I don't really exactly know. I think it was just because I hit my knitting slump and then I just really decided to stop. But look how pretty this is. I want to try this on to show you what it looks like, because also something about trying on your knits kind of helps to reinvigorate your interest. And honestly, where I'm at with this, I have like 4 more inches to go before I finish off the body of this, and then I can move on to the sleeves. There's really no reason for me not to just get going with this. So let's go ahead. We're going to try this on. Here we go. I feel like this episode is kind of like off the rails today. Here we are. I'm wearing a t-shirt dress, so it's not the greatest. All right. Here we go so far. Hello. How cute is this, right? Great color. Okay, it's an absolutely gorgeous color. This is the K&C Knit and Crochet 100% cotton yarn that you can get at Joann. I love this yarn. It's a fantastic cotton yarn. It is a sport weight, a sport DK weight, and it's more on the DK side. But that's what I have going on. Now, the pattern has you finish with a rolled edge. There isn't any ribbing. I'm thinking I'm going to keep to that, but I had to start shaping along the side here to bring things in because I felt like it was just a little bit wide. So I think what I'm going to do is bring it down to about where I want it and then do a knit 2 purl 2 rib at the bottom just to give it a little bit of structure down there. I haven't really decided completely yet. And then I'm going to take the sleeves down to about here, and then they're going to have a rolled edge. I don't know, like if the sleeves have a rolled edge, I think it'd be nice if the sleeves have a nice little rolled edge down here and then a nice little tight 2x2 or even 1x1 rib down at the bottom just to neaten up the edge. But that's where I'm at with this. And I really only have, I want to say I would only have maybe 3 inches left, like to here, and then maybe add an additional inch, maybe 4 inches, maybe to here and then an additional inch down here. So it's not much. So I just need to put in the time. That's the thing, is I just need to put in the time. Okay, I'm gonna take this off. Okay, so that is it. Those are my works in progress. The blue shirt that you just saw me wearing, I really want to finish that because I do love the color and I love the idea of having a nice, comfy, somewhat oversized, knit t-shirt to wear. So that is something I want to finish. I would like to have that in my wardrobe. It's fine. It's not too late. Even though it's cotton, that can be worn for quite some time. It doesn't start getting really cold here until November. So that would be perfect. My little hooded cowl, my next steps with that is to find a pattern where I can just pick up where I've left off with what I have so far and then use a pattern to construct the hood portion of that, because I want to finish that and I would like it to have a hood. Worst case scenario, and it's not even that bad, I just knit that into a really lovely cowl and call it a day. And then my socks for September, I plan on having those finished by September. It is middle of July. I have all of August to get that finished. I would love to have that and another pair finished, but I just can't make that promise. I just don't know if that's going to work out. And then my panasa, this is the one that's interesting me the most right now because I love the color. I'm loving working with this yarn. It has this really lovely thick and thin, kind of nubby, rustic texture that I love. It's soft. I want to see this come together. And I want a hand knit color work sweater in my wardrobe. I don't have that in my wardrobe, and I would like to have something like that in my wardrobe. I just love those colors too. So those are my works in progress. Just wanted to kind of tap into those with you guys. Yeah, I'm a slow knitter right now. I'm definitely a slow knitter. I'm a slow knitter and a fast reader this summer. What can I tell you? But it's okay. I'm happy with what I have going on here. We've been busy this summer. Between my husband and my anniversary, my husband's birthday, my dad's birthday, and then also just all the things that we've been doing with the kids over the summer, 4th of July, having family in town, and then we're going out of town. We're hoping to go out of town in August to see my brother and sister-in-law who just moved to Santa Fe. And then a dear, dear friend of mine, her mother is having her 70th birthday in the end of this month, actually. So there's just a lot going on. But it doesn't matter. No matter how much knitting I have, it always is nice to sit down and chat with you guys. And I love that you come every week and hang out with me. It means so much to me. I hope you guys are having a fantastic summer or fantastic winter wherever you are, and that you're getting lots of knitting in. Or if you're not getting knitting in, whatever it is that you're doing, I hope you're happy and doing really well. And if you're into reading and you want to hear my husband and I share some opinions and reviews about books that we're reading, definitely check out our new YouTube channel called Good Books Lately. It's tons of fun. We love doing it together. It's been an adventure for us and it's been so good for us. And we love having so many of the viewers that are here at the channel watching over there as well. It's been awesome. So thank you guys so much. And also, if you would like to join the Wool Needles Hands Patreon to help support the work that goes into what I do here, but also to see some additional content that I share over there, check all the links down below in the description box. Your support means so much. Okay guys, thank you so much. I will see you very soon. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.